Greetings, Horizon Tube dwellers, and welcome to another Mad Bag Gamer commentary. Today I'm going to be bringing you a 1 vs 1 first-person video, meaning that I recorded this while I was playing and I'm commentating it after the fact, of me playing a game on my secondary account. Now, normally I race pick Terran on this account because I feel I'm best with Protoss, so that's my primary account, and I feel I'm worse with Zerg, so I tend to just default to Terran whenever I don't want to play Protoss. However, today I didn't default to Terran. Today I instead played some Zerg, and you can actually see that right now it's showing my icon on this account as Zerg, as a Zerg user, as a Zerg buddy. That's not so much the case. This will probably eventually become Terran again, as I will play Terran more often than not on this account. However, I got a decent Zerg game for you. So, let's take a look at my opponent. Instead of being Terran this time, I'm going to be playing a rank 1 Platinum Terran. So my secondary account is Platinum. It tends to stay mid-range, and the ladder system has allowed us to encounter just about anybody anymore. It doesn't necessarily always put you with someone closely ranked to you. So this guy, in my opinion, is higher ranked than me by quite a bit, and I'm going to be playing my my weakest race, so I think that a couple little critical multipliers to make this a potentially really good game. Let's check it out. Ooh, and a nasty little rank 100 I am there. Highest Templar, the Zerg, and Narflord, the Terran, on Ohana LE. So rank 100, I actually, the second this season began, I started playing Zerg, just because it's been a while since I got a Zerg game out, and I wanted to get a decent Zerg game under my belt so that I could say some things about it and put it up on a channel somewhere. I lost a couple games. So the first, I think 3 games in this new season, I lost back to back to back. They actually put me up with Diamond players in all 3 of them. And while I feel confident being in Diamond as Protoss, I definitely do not as Zerg. They did that to me. It was very nasty. I got over a couple losses. And now I'm playing a kind of high-ranked Platinum. That kind of makes me think that my MMR going out of the last season was kind of high. MMR is matchmaking rating, and it is basically a hidden value that, besides your rank, helps Blizzard match you up with the right opponents. So if you win a lot of games against people equally ranked to you, you will end up having a higher MMR than them, and this should cause you to rank up very quickly. However, if you're losing key games and losing key amounts of points, you may not be ranking up quickly. However, you may still end up getting placed against higher and higher ranked people, or I should say higher and higher MMR ranked people. And I think from my Terran play in the end of the last season, that's what it was trying to do with me as Zerg. Unfortunately, the matchmaking system does not at all take into account the race you're using yet. So I hope that that's something that Blizzard implements in the future. Not necessarily that I would want a totally separate rank with each race. I just, it would be nice if they slightly adjusted your MMR based on your past evidence with skill with that race. If you sucked really bad with Zerg, like I do, it would be nice if they made your MMR reflect that a little bit when you played as Zerg. So you see, I went for a 15 hatch. I actually staged the drone so that if his scout came in, he wouldn't see the hatch down and he'd come into my base, and he wouldn't be able to block it. It looks like his worker was late enough, though, that that didn't happen. And it looks like he may not have been paying attention to the fact that I was Zerg, because he didn't wall off. Either that or he's planning on doing a build where he's not afraid of Zerglings. There is a tech lab going down in that barracks. That is kind of concerning to me. I think I'm going to go ahead and dodge out with the drone. I might keep it around his base to go in for a second scout, but if he's going straight for a tech lab before Marine even, it indicates likely Reaper. If you were Protoss, I would say that probably indicates more of a Marauder push, and that might be the case. However, this indicates Reaper. So I'm taking 2 drones out of my main. I'm going to give them a shift queue of attack commands around my natural, just because if he's going Reaper, there it is. I can almost assure you it's going to be a bunker Reaper. So there, I catch his SCV. The timing of his SCV leaving the base and everything was just perfect to be that Reaper bunker. And I did go with a pool before gas, just to be safe. If you go gas first, it indicates you're going to get Ling speed immediately. However, your Lings come out a little bit later. I got the Lings as early as I could, and I'm glad that I did. He got the cancel at the last second. That's always a good sign that the player is aware and on his game if he gets those last second cancels. So now he's got a Reaper. The Reaper will kite Zerglings without speed endlessly and kill an endless amount of them. He even gets bonus damage against the Zerglings, so he kills them very quickly. So my little feint with the Zerglings there wasn't so much to attack him or kill the Reaper, but it was mainly just to get him to stop attacking my spine. I want that spine to have as much health as possible for the near future, as I will likely be using it quite a lot. And I'm going to throw down an Evo here. Against Terran, my favorite build is Ling Muta. It's a little old school, but it's also, in my opinion, the most reliable and the most versatile. It is the build that it's the easiest to both harass and survive pushes with. And the way I do Ling Muta, you will just about always get pushed at some point in time in the game before you have Mutalisks on the map. So if all you're using is Zerglings and, say, a couple Spine Crawlers to try to defend yourself, against Terran that can be nasty in a number of ways. They can use a lot of different stuff that makes Spine Crawlers and Zerglings a real flimsy defense. So I like to use an Evo for two reasons. A, it's a safe play because if I can scout him going Banshees, which I have an Overlord moving into his base right now to try to see, if I can scout him going Banshees, then I can just throw down a Spore with my Evo, and I can be pretty safe from Banshees. Also, I can use the Evo to get Zergling upgrades to make my defense less flimsy against any kind of push. And here you see him doing some large Reaper count shenanigans. Now, the interesting thing about large Reaper counts is that if he gets a lot of Reapers, he will get damage done to you. He's actually getting a lot of damage done to my drone line right there, and I'm not getting a whole lot of damage done to his Reapers. But the thing about him building Reapers is that he's not building other stuff. He's only building Reapers. He has at least 2 barracks tasked on building Reapers, at least to get those 3 to my base as quickly as he did. That means he's got 2 barracks that aren't building Marines. That means that if I do kill the Reapers, I've killed a chunk of his army, and now Zergling speed is finished. I have Speedlings, so I'm going to move out to the tower. If I can catch his Reapers, that would be fantastic. And sure enough, he's not watching. I catch his Reapers. Now, he has a deficit in army because he spent a lot of time. He spent a good bit of money. Reapers are 50-50, minerals and gas. But even more costly, he spent a lot of time on those barracks building Reapers instead of building anything else. So I'm going to push to his front. I'm going to see if I can do anything. I went up there, saw that his expansion wasn't down yet, and my Overlord is in his base getting killed right now. Now, I got tricked. In his base, I saw a starport on my first pass, and then before my Overlord died, I saw what I thought was a second starport landed on a reactor. And this really confused me, because the starport that I had originally seen was out of my Overlord's vision. However, it was still on the map. So to me right now, if I look at his base, I think I do here in a second, it looks like he has 2 starports, when in fact he only has 1, and it just moved after my Overlord saw it. But him having 2 starports scared the crap out of me. I figured it was going to be, maybe he was going to pump out 2 medevacs, and that's why the 1 starport was on the reactor, and then he was going to turn over and do like double starport Banshee or something, and do some huge Marine and medevac and Banshee push, which that's not common by any means. That's a really weird push, but it's not so weird that I just wouldn't expect it to happen at all. So I've thrown down a lot of spores. I've thrown down 2 spores in my natural, as that's probably going to be the highest contention area, and then I've thrown down 1 in my main. I can bring queens to my main to make that a little safer if I need. And I've thrown down additional spores, spines as well, because spines are really good against Marines. If he is getting 2 starports, it's almost impossible for him to get siege tanks. And if he were getting a siege tank count, that would be where I want to neglect the spines. I don't want to get spines, because siege tanks can just deal with them so effectively. And here I see what he's actually doing. He's doing some Reaper medevac shenanigans, and he's gotten some Hellions as well. So this is like an all Zergling kill team. Everything he has here does bonus damage to light, and Zerglings are all I have. Now luckily, my +1 damage is finishing for the Zerglings, and I'm building some Banelings right now. Banelings do really good against Hellions and Reapers. Hellions are light, so Banelings get their bonus damage against Hellions, and Banelings are not light, so Hellions don't do great damage to Banelings. Hellions are faster, so generally they can still kill Banelings off. But Banelings are pretty good. It's good to have some Banelings against Hellions. And if you can get those hits, Hellions go down really fast. My spires come up, however, to defend this push, I'm skewing away from the Mutalisks. So ideally right now, instead of Banelings and instead of this extra big pack of Zerglings, I would be building Mutalisks with this money. But to defend this push, I skewed towards safety, and I went with some Zerglings and Banelings anyway. Especially since I've gotten some upgrades, it's made my Zerglings and Banelings a little meatier. And now you see my goose egg of money. Now I can actually do the Mutalisks. All of those are Mutalisks. You see my control group 3 there pop up to 10. 10 is a great number. And he knows that it's going to be too much. As I just get up there, you see the barracks, or I'm sorry, the bunker. And the good defense defended his shenaniganery. So let's take a quick look at some of the statistics of this match. Economy breakdown, I created a lot more workers than him. That is normal for Zerg, especially against Terran, as they have the mules. He killed a number of my workers, so I doubt that I was literally 25 workers ahead of him. Plus I have to use them to build buildings, so that number comes down even more. Units, of course he killed a crap ton more than me. I had a lot of Zerglings. Zerglings are so easy to kill. Army value. So, ideally this would have stayed lower. I probably could have used just that spine and maybe one other spine and gotten less Zerglings, and probably could have got more drones earlier. And right here especially, you see me using just that small amount of Zerglings to stay relatively safe while his army ramps up into production, while his production gets ready for this push. And then right as the push is happening, boom, all my Zerglings come out. This is probably some extra Banelings morphing, maybe a couple more Zerglings, and that puts my army value where it needs to be for that push. Resource collection wise, there's probably nothing real surprising here. He did have a second command center, I saw with that Overlord, so he was planning to expand. However, with the timing of his push and the timing of when he was bringing the command center down to expand, it got him to start mining off of it kind of late. I was mining off my expansion kind of early, however I wasn't fully saturated on the main, so we stayed pretty even with the income. He had 2 in-base throughout most of this time, 2 mules, 2 orbital commands to get a lot more money than normal off the 1 base. I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on the replay, but let's take a peek at a few things. I will be leaving the replay timer up, as it doesn't really matter. You guys just saw the match. And I'm going to be boosting through some of this opening part. It's not real exciting. Let's boost a little bit faster than just the ×4 speed. The barracks looks like it's regularly timed to 12 barracks. The refinery right after on 13. Tech lab immediately. And he'll be going into that Reaper first off the bat. Ooh, and a second refinery. Did I see that? I do not recall. Let me get anything of mine here. I did see the second refinery, so that kind of, if you see that early, I saw that with the drone scout. If you see that stuff that early, that is a huge indication of a tech play. I might be wrong about this barracks count too. It might end up only being the 1 barracks that creates all those Reapers I saw at the beginning. Looks like it is. Ooh, there's his command center right after the factory. And he goes straight to the starport, getting a reactor on the factory. He ended up only getting 1 medevac, so I think this reactor shenaniganery was a mistake. And here I see it. Here, check this out. I see the starport up there, and then I go past, and he moves the starport down. So look at that. It looks like there are 2 starports there. I didn't watch when the Overlord came in, and I came down and glanced later, and I was like, 2 starports? Oh my god! And I didn't look back after I moved the Overlord back up there. He ended up killing him. So before stuff starts to go down, let's take a look at some counts here. This is after he killed some of my drones. Just to take a peek, he killed 5 of my drones. That's a decent number. I guess I could put that up too. That's kind of nice. But I'm still ahead of him. I'm not as far ahead of him as I would like to be. However, with 3 spines and with a couple Zerglings with that speed, I'm feeling pretty safe right now, and you'll likely see my production tab reflect, oh yes, drones, drones, drones. Looks like he's gearing up to do this push. 4 barracks, That's interesting. He's just starting to get the Marines. I killed his first 3 Reapers, and he's bought another 4. This is probably the weirdest thing about this build, is the number of Reapers he invests in. It's a really high Reaper count, and he doesn't necessarily do the greatest damage with them. The first 3 were okay. I would say he broke even with them, but he needed to switch a lot more quickly into Marines. And it looks like he is doing good getting stim. This timing is going to line up with stim pretty well. but he doesn't have the Marine count to make it worth it, really. He's got a couple at his base. He's not necessarily bringing them up. I'm trying to tear this down so that I can take my third when I begin to Mutalisk harass, which is a great time to take your third, by the way. And I like that having the medevac allows him to not take any losses and take down a spine. That's actually really smart. That's a this number of Reapers is a number I should probably remember, because from the looks of it, it only took you 4 or 5 little runs in to take down a spine, and that can be nice to have some clean and easy ways to take down spines. That was kind of sloppy. He came too far down, lost too many Reapers. And here in just a second, I believe he's going to be trying to send the rest of his forces up, and I just happened to catch his timing perfectly. Oh god, let's look at this count now. I'm ahead of him in workers, but not by enough, really. With 2 orbitals, he can have at least 2 mules down at all times. Ooh, it looks like he's getting ready for some extreme late game stuff with a double engineering bay. And here you see me do a little bit of Zergling splitting. I grab just some of them, just a little lasso, and move them over to the side. Anytime you're fighting Hellions, it's good to have your Zerglings not just in a pack following the Hellions. It's good to have them coming from all different angles. And it looks like I'm getting that +2 damage too. I forgot to mention that in the game. And he tries to throw down the bunkers, but he realizes that it's just far too late. And I'm going in with 1 Zergling in case he's transitioned out of all this stuff and has a siege tank. If it's already sieged, I don't necessarily want to run this whole clump of units directly into siege fire. That could be pretty bad. My Mutalisks are coming out, again, really low muta count, but it's just so that I could skew towards the defense for that push. And I think it worked out really well. It actually worked out way better than I would have expected it to. What I would have expected is a slightly more even trade on this push, and then my Mutalisk harass to begin with me taking an easy third. I think I still would have been in a good position, but with the worker counts, this game would have been probably really close if he could transition out of his opening plan. Alright, well, thanks for watching, guys, and remember, I do upload some of these videos to my own channel as well, though it is mostly Skyrim, so if you just can't get enough of my Starcraft specifically, feel free to subscribe to that channel and then just promptly ignore all of the Skyrim shenaniganery. Thanks for watching. I'll see you later.